Welcome back to another episode from Carl's Cycle Supply. Today we're going over 1941 Knuckleheads and what made them so spectacular. We'll also be going over this beautiful cruiser green 1941 EL we restored earlier this year. Stay tuned and be sure to hit the like and subscribe if you love old motorcycles, especially knuckleheads like us.
Hey everybody, this is B.Olsen. Thanks for tuning in and checking out our video on this 1941 Harley-Davidson Knucklehead. In 1941, Harley-Davidson came out with an abundance of updates to the previous year's models. The motor company finally felt comfortable enough with the 74 overhead valve engine and released the brand new Harley-Davidson FL model. The motor company produced 2,541 ELs and 2,618 FLs in 1941. They offered both models in 4 different colors: Brilliant Black, Skyway Blue, Flight Red, and Cruiser Green. Today's video, we are going to go over some cool features and a few shortfalls of the 41 Knucklehead. Let's start with the new styling features in 1941. America was reaching its pinnacle of the decadent styling era. From motorcycles to planes, cars to lathes, and everything else in between, the styling was evolving and beginning to transform by the 1940s. Nothing was safe from having frivolous, stainless, or chrome-plated trim added to it. When full fender styling by Harley-Davidson was first introduced in 1934, the aesthetic package was well defined and held together with perfect proportions and sleek lines, accentuated by smooth, bold pinstriping. Harley achieved this high standard goal in '36 with the release of the EL model. Over the next 3 to 4 years, Harley-Davidson added more bling and trim. The motor company pulled back on pinstriping and decals. Unfortunately, no one in the design department could imagine that adding stainless steel tank trim in 1941 would start the trip down the slippery slope and eventually grow into an ultra classic. All jokes aside, adding flamboyant trim was a worldwide movement, and Harley-Davidson made the right choice by following suit to appeal to the new wave of customers. The second biggest impact for 41 Knuckleheads were the new and improved 7-inch air cleaners. This added nearly 20% more filtering surface area, while providing a big 7-inch steel bowl to chrome plate. The bar and shield logo stamped on the cover no longer says trademark in the air cleaner. Harley added a new nickel-plated brass data tag that is held on the cover with the same brass rivets as the 6-inch air cleaners used in the previous year. The next biggest aesthetic improvement for 41 was the new, easy-to-read, airplane-style speedometer face. The speedometer face was silver-plated and black circles were silk-screened onto it. The numbers on the new speedometer face were light in color and bright to the eye, rather than the previous year's silvery white speedometer faces with black numbers. The speedometer needle was increased in size and painted white for easy viewing of the rider's speed. Let's discuss the chassis updates. Due to feedback from riders and dealers, the neck rake and trail was slightly tweaked. The neck rake was increased from 25 degrees to 28 degrees. The main legs of the fork were straightened out and no longer swept forward. This combination helped make riding the bike at speed with 16-inch tires more stable. The toolbox bracket is now held to the frame with 3 quarter 24 screws, and most of 41 only has one position for mounting the toolbox, which is up high. The clutch pedal on Big Twins now runs on 2 bushings, and the pivot point has a grease fitting for effortless servicing. All models now feature die-cast front brake handles. This is a 2-year only mount because it does not have a slot for the cable to go through. Moving on to engine improvements, let's talk about some of the smaller updates, starting with the new centrifugally controlled bypass that was incorporated into all oil pumps available on Harley models in 41. OHV models got a 1-year only version of this pump. You can tell a 41 pump from a 42 and later pump by checking out the chain oiler screw. On a 1941 pump, the chain oiler screw runs straight into the oil pump body. 42 and later pumps have the adjuster go in at an angle. The centrifugally controlled bypass mechanism was used through 1947. The big news for 1941 was the release of the 74 cubic inch engine. The bore was increased from 3 5/16 to 3 7/16. The stroke was bumped out to 3 31/32. The new motor recognized the splendid qualities of the 61 OHV while naturally answering the requests of avid riders for an engine with larger displacement. The M35 carb now breathes through a longer manifold, and air is filtered through the larger 7-inch air cleaner previously mentioned. Another small bonus that premiered in 41 is the standardization of all 4 rocker arm seals. This small change was made possible by extending the rocker box housing and gasket surface on the rear exhaust rocker arm. The transmission basically remained the same. The kicker arm was slightly straightened due to a new muffler being released. The real upgrade happened in the clutch department. According to the sales brochure, 41 was the first year for a marvelously efficient clutch of new design. This revamped configuration provided smoother action and longer life. This was an improvement on almost all levels, except for no longer being small and compact. The new wider clutch required the introduction of a wider outer primary cover to accommodate the new setup. The clutch arm is now made out of a single forged piece of steel rather than being 2 pieces of metal that are either brazed or welded together like previous years. These are marginal updates that made parts cheaper and easier to produce. Big twin flatheads and knuckleheads got a new rocket fin muffler in 1941. This muffler was promoted under the slogan, New Streamline Muffler. Harley's advertisements claimed big twins are fitted with a new effective muffler of beautiful appearance and trouble-free construction, and back pressure is reduced. The main body of the muffler is made from rolled sheet metal with a spot-welded seam and crimped-on ends. The rocket fin comes to a sharp point on the exhaust tip. The interior baffle has a small cup halfway through the length of the muffler that disrupts exhaust gases. This streamlined muffler was used through 1949. Over 12 years ago, we were the first company to go over the top on getting all of these details correct. Now, over a decade later, we are still making the closest copy of what Harley premiered before World War II. This particular 1941 Knucklehead is a 61-inch EL model bought by a friend in a 3-bike package deal. The previous owner had planned to build it up into a bobber. It had a really nice set of matched cases and tanks. Unfortunately, it came with a poorly restored 45-46 frame with a V-twin neck forging. Through some networking, we located the correct frame, fork, and other missing pieces. We built it up as a standard bare-bones 41 and painted it cruiser green. I was able to get a perfect match off an original paint set of gas tanks that we've owned for 20 years. I love the way the black rims look against the green fenders. The motor has been balanced at 60% and has been perfectly restored. We took it to the Viking meet in St. Paul, Minnesota this year and scored a junior first in the AMCA judging. This is the highest score a bike can receive the first time it is judged at a National Antique Motorcycle Club of America meet. This was a fulfilling ending to a long process of starting with crumbs and turning it into a really nice, perfectly restored bike. We were lucky to have a group of vendors that help us out with sourcing parts, painting, plating, and other pieces that we need when restoring one of these bikes back to original. It also helped a ton to have a great crew of guys in the shop helping us and one of the nicest original paint 41 Knuckleheads in the country. If you want to see more about that bike, like and subscribe for a future video where we explain our personal 41 EL that we bought from the ranch hand of the original family's... How do I say that? That we bought from the second owner.
Hey, flooding my grandpa's bike for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you have 16 flooded bikes?
Yeah.